Welcome back. This is Father Mark Toops, and for the last 4 weeks, we've been having a conversation about how life is messy, our families are messy, our relationship with God is messy. And the question for you today is, how do you feel about all that messy? Right? A lot of us, we can run from our own stuff. We can run from our struggle in life. And last week, in week 4 of the series called Life Is, we had the good news of how the woman with the hemorrhage, she turned toward God and gave us a lot of hope and freedom there. And this past Sunday, July 8th, we celebrated the good news of St. Paul. I love Paul. I love a man who in Romans writes about his own struggle with sin. And I love a man who this week in his letter to the Corinthians allows the Lord to speak to him about weakness. Now, weakness, that's something that a lot of us guys hate. And even for, I think, a lot of women can run from it too, especially in our messy, right? For so many of us, our weakness and our messiness all kind of are in the same place in our heart, right? And the good news this past weekend was that God reminded us that when he sees our weakness, he doesn't see it the same way we see it. Let me give you an example. I've worn glasses ever since I was in 2nd grade, and these lenses very much influence the way that I see the world, right? So when I put these lenses on my eyes, it shapes the way that I perceive reality. So I don't necessarily perceive reality as it is. I see reality through these lenses. And when I look at my life, when I look at my weakness, and I've got the ones that you have, and when I look at my mess, and I've got the same ones that you have, I look at my life through my lenses, right? Which is my story, it's my history. And so the parts of my life that I don't like, or the parts of my life that I want to run from God, that's the way that I see the world. And this past Sunday in the gospel, what really happened as we were hearing those stories, as we were referring back to the second reading from St. Paul, is that God doesn't wear our glasses. In other words, when God sees us, God's lenses, you might say, is pure love. So when God sees, he sees through the lens of pure love. That means when God sees your weakness, and when God sees my weakness, and when God sees all of our mess, he doesn't see it the way that you and I see it. Love is not something that God does. Love is who God is. That means that God doesn't choose to love at this point or not choose to love at this point. He's always loving, especially in your mess. And the way that he can love us is pure and awesome because of the way that he sees our mess. So I just want to offer a word of encouragement. If any of us are struggling with our mess, if any of us are acknowledging that we're messy, our relationship with God is messy, just be encouraged today that God doesn't see your mess the way that you see your mess. If you'd like to hear the rest of this homily, or even homilies from other priests in our diocese who are preaching the same message, go to our website, htdiocese.org, and click on the homilies button. That'll take you to a great space where there's lots of resources to help you not only find God in the midst of your mess, but perhaps this week help you experience God who looks at your mess through the lens of pure love. God bless you.